principle then is healing is natural. Healing is natural. In other words, we're meant to be whole and complete because, you know, in truth and in essence, we're already whole and complete. We've already been given everything. You don't have to discover something new. It's all there. I always use the example of the ragu spaghetti sauce because I remember that commercial so much. You might not remember it, but it's an older commercial. And the guy, he would say, "What's this?" He'd say, "This is ragu spaghetti sauce." And he says, "You got peppers in there?" He says, "It's in there." "You got onions?" "It's in there." "Tomato sauce?" "It's in there." Everything that the person says, it's in there. And that was the slogan for the ragu spaghetti sauce. It's in there. And the slogan for us, it's in there. It's all there. You don't have to create something. You don't have to try to figure out something new. It's all inside. It simply needs to be uncovered. Uncovered. I always like the idea of the onion skins and the light bulb. You've got a shiny light bulb inside of you. But because you maybe got lost in the world in some ways, it got covered up with onion skins. And if there are enough onion skins over the light bulb, you can't see it shining. But it's still there, and it's still shining bright, but there's just lots of onion skins over it. So what do? We peel away the onion skins. We peel it away until the light begins to shine, until it begins to shine so bright. And I shine so bright because it's all in there. Healing is natural. It's normal. Your vibrant health is all in there. The ninth principle is the principle of immortality. This is not the only time and space circumstances in which we live. Not the only one. Joel Goldsmith said it this way, and the way I like it, he said, "This life is a parenthesis in eternity." In other words, it's artificial in a way that says, oh, we were born here and we passed away or died here. He said, take away the parentheses. Before you were born to this time and space circumstance, you lived. Now, maybe you don't remember. There's all kinds of discussion as to why you don't remember or how you don't remember and all of those kinds of things. But you live because your life is eternal. You are an immortal spiritual being. And when you leave this life, you live. It's a transition to another life. I had a number of people that I counseled in the past on the issue of suicide, where they would come and they'd say, I don't want to live here anymore. I have all these problems. I don't know what to do. And I successfully convinced the ones I know about anyway, that if a person decided to take their life in this life, they would simply wake up on the other side with the same consciousness and the same awareness that they have here. You don't change your awareness by changing whether you're in another dimension. You take your awareness with you. You take your consciousness with you. So, that's an important thing to know, because as we grow in this lifetime, everything that we learn and grow and find out about here in this lifetime, it helps us in the next lifetime. It's not like it's cut off and you have to start all over again. You take your consciousness with you. And I think there's a lot of proof that happens. Talk about these savants, these little 4-year-old kids that all of a sudden they will step up to the piano and they'll be able to play Beethoven at age 4. Yes. Where does that come from? Yes. It comes from that they were trained in some of their lifetime, in some of their methodology of it. There are so many, especially in India, where they absolutely know and they recognize this. There are stories and stories and stories. You go on the internet and read thousands of them, where a little Indian boy travels to another village. He's never been there before, and yet he walks into a home and he greets his mother from another lifetime, and he goes to his room. It's amazing. I had a friend of mine named George Bachel. He was a great man. George died at age 100. The first half of his life, he made a lot of money. And the second half of his life, he told me his job was to give it away. That's what he did. And George slowly came to the ideas of science of mind over the years. And he said one of the things that absolutely convinced him, his son was 19 years old and was killed in an automobile accident. And he couldn't bring himself to change his son's room. About 10 years later, his grandson, who was age 4, came to his house for the first time, looked at the house, ran upstairs, and said, "Poppy, that's my room." And he knew all of the things in that room. Now, you could not convince George that that wasn't the reincarnation of his son. And that there was, during the last years of George's life, there was such a bond between those two, the grandson and George. So there are so many examples of the immortality of life. And the reason why we think it is so important, because if you're absolutely convinced of it, then you're not afraid of anything. You don't have fear because you know nothing can harm you. Yeah, a Mack truck can grow over you, and maybe you have to wake up and start in a different situation. I don't like change. But nothing can really harm you because you are an immortal spiritual being. Yes. And that brings us then to the last idea, and the last idea is this, is transformation. We're not here just for us. We've alluded to it before. We are really here to help transform our planet. In maybe our small way. Maybe people, if you read about the religious history of the 20th century, do you know that the science of mind and religious science maybe would get a footnote? Maybe. The vast majority of the people, even in this country, don't know about science of mind and spirit. Right. That's the fact. But the truth is, consciousness with one constitutes a majority. In other words, when we come together in consciousness and we come together in the truth that we know that there's this loving presence that absolutely embraces us, and we know that we're here to help bring peace to our planet, and that our ideas, our concepts, our actions all have an effect on everyone else, that we're all interconnected and everything. And when we know that, we help lift up each other. So I hope that you will make a decision in your own way, with your own spiritual map, in the way that you see it, to go deeper into your own teaching, into your own beliefs, to be open-minded and question what you think, to be around other people and listen and see what makes sense and what makes sense to integrate your awareness and your consciousness. And then as you do that, then apply it to your life so that we can say, when we're here in December 2014, was the best year of our life.
Yes.
And that's the truth. So it is.